Is there maybe one thing that Ben did on the record that sticks out for you, or is it maybe a track or a guitar riff? Or?
I think it's just the free flowing feel of everything. You know, there's a spirit in this record that I don't know that we've ever been able to capture before. You know, there's moments on everything. One of my favorite things is the solo he did on one of the bonus tracks for Burnin' Love. I mean, it's like Jerry Reed kind of guitar, and it's just awesome.
And because you get that, like you say, you get everything isolated, and yourself as well. So what is it like to in a way edit your own voice?
I mean, there's really no edits. I mean, you know, there was no trickery involved. It was
we didn't do any auto tune, any comps, you know.
No, it's like I sang it, you know, and it's what it is. But for the record, man, I mean, it's like minimal EQ, minimal compression, and then a little bit of reverb and delay on the vocals, and that's it.
Right.
You know, everything else is the sound it was when it went in.
So keep it very raw.
Yeah, and I tried to take the most minimalistic approach that I could, you know, because obviously we get our guitar tones the way we want them when they go in to Pro Tools, so you shouldn't have to do much to them after that, you know, and that's what I went for, and I wanted to keep it, you know, super just natural feeling.
Right. And in terms of the kind of the themes on the album, then, because like you say, most of it was written on tour. How did that affect kind of what came out in terms of the concepts or the themes?
You know, I mean, Carry Me On Down the Road is just kind of the story of what we do for a living. You know, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't think we could have written that at the practice house. You know,
it's kind of like a rambling man. You know, it's just it's our version of a road song. Everybody needs a good road song. You know. Right. The other stuff, we just wanted to make a light-spirited album, you know, with the exception of a couple songs at My Last Breath and maybe Family Tree that might be a little deeper, you know.
Dancing in the Rain's another one that's a little deeper.
Yeah. Most of the stuff is just, you know, it's fun-spirited rock and roll music. You know, you sing about good times, you sing about, you know, hanging out with friends, you sing about Friday nights in the South.
Good times, a good woman, and a good bottle of bourbon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean? It's just, you know.
But is that in a sense then indicative as well of where you are as a band? Kind of you're enjoying life?
Man, you know, we've been doing this for 17 years, the same four guys now, and you know, putting out records for the last 11 years. And I think we've reached this point where we're at the best point we've ever been. You know, like we love going and playing music live and just getting lost in the music. And, you know, and that's something that, you know, before it was more, you know, we used to concern ourselves with chart positions and, you know, all the ins and outs of the business of the way 99% of this industry, you know, they base their success on numbers and chart positions. And we finally said, you know what, man, that's not what it's about. The success in this business is about the response you get from people when they listen to your music and when they come see you play your music live, and the stories you hear about how the music, you know, how them and their friends were laughing about something and our music was playing, or how one of the more serious songs had an impact on them. I mean, we've gotten to this point where, and I think this is what we take the most from our influences is, you know, the songs mean something to people, and that's where we're at, and we want to put on the best live shows we can, and, you know, numbers and chart positions, that stuff doesn't mean shit to us. I mean, it's all about, you know, the feeling and the vibe and spreading some positivity through rock and roll.
With that in mind, then, because you mentioned those influences as well, what was it like to work with Warren Haynes, who obviously the Allman Brothers band?
Oh yeah, no, dude, it was
especially for Southern rock, has been instrumental.
He's a pioneer for.
Well, he's a living legend.
Yeah, we met him for the first time. I think it was 2004. We did our showcase for a record label in New York City, and we had John Fred, our drummer. His father plays in the Kentucky Headhunters, and we were up there and. We took a bus up there, and we get in front of the venue we're playing at that night. And of course, at the time, our band, you know, is virtually unheard of. You know, we had no record deal, nothing. So Richard steps off the bus, and Warren lives in Manhattan, and he saw Richard from his window, you know, across the street. So he runs over and he hollers at Richard, and he's like, "Hey, the Headhunters playing here tonight?" And Richard said, "No, man, my son's band is showcasing." And we met Warren, and we were just, you know, amazed. We're like, "Man, this is awesome. You know, how spontaneous is this?" And then
I think Warren and Fred went out to dinner that night.
they did. And then Chris and I got to see Government Mule play in Nashville, Tennessee last summer. And we talked to Warren a little bit after the show, and just kind of briefly mentioned that we would like to, because he has since heard of the band, you know. And, we kind of mentioned we'd like to work together in some form. And then about a month later, we were in the studio, and we had this song, "Dancing in the Rain," and we said, "Man, Warren he would sound great on this, whether he just plays on it, whether he just wants to sing on it, whatever. Let's email him." So we emailed him, and he shot back and said, "I love the song." We sent the demo to him. He said, "I love it. I'd love to be a part of it." So we were like, yes. So he had been on tour at the time, and he had a couple days off, so we sent the tracks up to a studio close to him, and he called us, and we got on the phone with him, and he was like, "What do y'all want me to do?" You know, we're like, "Don't."
We want you to just
You
go
do
be
you.
Warren Haynes.
You know, like basically, here's the lyrics for the part we want you to sing. Otherwise,
Do what
it's
you
your
want to do.
canvas. And he sent it back, and it was just like chills. You know, he nailed it.
And with somebody like that, did you talk with him kind of about the music and about the industry?
Not really about the industry, just, and that's the thing, man. Like, that's one of those things where, you know, a lot of bands don't talk about stuff like that, you know, but you see the way they react to certain things.
Right.
And you know, when you read books about the artist that inspired you, you know, the greatest joys in their life are the way their songs impacted people, you know, and that's what we take away from it.
Right. And is there ever a chance he'll join you on stage for the song?
It'd be a lot cooler if he would.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going on tour with Government Mule
Oh, right.
in April, so maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully, it'd be an honor. So we'll see.
We'll see. There's another song that I'd like to talk. You mentioned it already, but "My Last Breath," which is a little bit slower, a little bit more soulful. Where did that song start? Because I agree with you that it sounds very much like a fun rock and roll album, but then that song is a little bit more.
Yeah.
Man, that song it came out. We were playing the Knitting Factory, the one in Spokane.
Yeah. In Washington.
We were in Spokane, Washington on tour, and I had gotten a guitar a couple weeks before, and I was playing it on the bus. It's an old vintage Strat, and I was playing through this little amp, and I came up with that chorus part and the lyrics to the chorus. Like, it just kind of happened, you know, really fast. And everybody was like, "That's really cool." And, you know, it kind of blossomed from there. And lyrically, that song is I mean, it's talking to my son the entire time. You know, I got a 5-year-old son, and you know, it's basically me telling him everything, you know, that I want him to know that he's too young to understand right now. You know, and it's about the value of family and that love between, you know, that you share with your family, and making sure they all understand. You know, even though we're gone a lot and we miss a lot of stuff, that they are the absolute world to us.
And you mentioned the importance of family, so to round off with the album title, Family Tree. Last album was Kentucky, which is very home to you. But then, is this even closer or more tight-knit?
You know, this record, man, it was a different vibe from day one of recording through the last day. And you know, it was in it's the same engineer, same equipment, but he's in a new location now. And it was just, you know, like an open door policy. All our friends came by and our families were there a lot. And, you know, the kids were coming by. And it just, you know, that song is it's kind of the story of us and the ups and downs. And, you know, in this business, you meet a lot of people who aren't what you think they are. you know, or they wear a really good mask for a long time and then they unleash all kinds of hell. But that song, you know, is speaking a lot about that and the things that we've gone through in our career and the mountains we've climbed and the ones we've fallen off of. But at the same time, the one constant we've always had is that ability to return home and recharge and be with our families. You know, I mean, that's the greatest thing in life to me is family, and being able to record a record, you know, that close to home, where you drive home every night and you do get to recharge and see your family every morning. It's much more, you know, it's a much more comfortable feeling and it's a better artistic environment in my opinion, because we've done the records where you go out and you're in California and you're living in an apartment complex, or you're in Nashville living in an apartment complex, and you have set times to be at the studio. You know, you're at the studio from this time to this time every day, and it gets a lot like a damn job, man. You know, you might as well have a time clock when you walk in, and that's just not any fun to me. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, we play music because conforming to that form of society didn't work for us, man. You know, we all
Right.
did it, but
It's supposed to be just,
it's supposed to be fun, man.
I mean, just like Chris's son sings a little part on the album, you know, that was a spontaneous thing, and we wouldn't get that anywhere else, you know. So and we're lucky to have a great studio close to us that we can go in and record, and for us it just works, you know, because, you know, every now and then we have the door closed, so to speak, when we're working on stuff. Most of the time it's an open door policy, you know. There's friends and family stopping by, and you know, it's just.
And even when it's a closed door policy, it's like people stop by and we're like, okay, we're doing vocals in this room, so you got to stay out
gotta
here.
go to the other place, you know, which is great about the studio, because it's big enough that
Big
you
ass
know,
place.
people can go outside or whatever, or to the other room, and if we're doing something more controlled, you know, like vocals or something like that, that takes some concentration. But yeah, we're really fortunate that we have that.
Last question then, what is the best memory you've had from recording? Maybe one thing that's
this album?
Yeah, maybe a day or something that sticks out.
I'd say, I don't know, I mean, there's a ton. I'll probably think of 1,000 things once I leave here, but something that we did different that we haven't done that I can just say immediately stands out is we did some different percussion stuff on this album where everybody was involved. Even a couple of our crew guys were involved that happened to be there that day as well. It was really cool, you know. We had a bunch of different drums and percussion instruments and shakers and tambourines and congas, and we recorded all that stuff live together, you know. And that was really neat because we'd never really done anything like that on albums past. So it's just, you know, you make little memories like that, and it's cool because every time you hear it now, you think back to us in that room and, you know, looking at each other, trying not to laugh and while we're trying to record these parts, you know. It was cool.
I'd say for me that my most memorable moment would be the day that, you know, I mean, they came by a bunch, but the one day that my wife Ashley and my son Declan came by and we got him, I was like, hey man, you want to do Dad a favor? And he's like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, all right, man. So we get a chair and we take it over to my microphone and I get him to sing on You Got the Blues. And that's something that's so cool to me, coming from a family, you know, where music has always been a huge deal. And, you know, my grandpa built acoustic instruments. My dad, he played music. My dad plays music locally at home. Obviously, I play music. And to have my son to be, you know, excited and to get to be on a song with me, you know, and now we've got this little musical moment that'll last forever that, you know, we can talk about to his kids one day. And that's just something that, you know, like Ben said earlier, if we'd have been anywhere but where we were, it would have never happened. And so I'm thankful for that. And that's my most memorable part of the whole record, was standing in front of him while he's at the same microphone I used to record, singing him a line and having him sing it back to me was the coolest thing, man. And then to see his face when he got to hear himself on one of Daddy's songs, as he calls them, man, it was just absolutely amazing.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
for
guys.
having us.
Thank you.